Yep.
Oh no, that's not the right view. There we go.
There we
For
go.
some reason, we were on the single row instead of just us. But we're
Oh,
here. Hey everybody, welcome to Super Serial Showtime. As always, I'm your host Metal, and joining me temporarily remotely is my co-host Marsupial Gamer. Still in his car, getting here very quickly
yeah.
though. He's not that far away. So buckle up. I'm sure he is because he does not drive recklessly. Share out the show. Get more people in here. We're going to talk about all things serial, movies, shows, maybe even some comics or books. It depends what pops in our head while we're going, and we'll have a good time.
Yeah.
And make sure that if you enjoy the show and you want to show your appreciation, that you send a gift, a donation to streamlabs.com/vomitorium live. It's not necessary, but it really helps us out. So how you doing today?
Indeed. For some reason, I'm like more hoarse than ever. And I'm like, I don't feel like I've been coughing that much, but, I'm all right.
That's good.
They make me talk too much at work. I'm like,
You're a programmer. Like,
leave
how
me,
much
leave me
talking should you
alone.
have to do?
Well, apparently I'm now the team lead. So,
Oh, yeah.
yeah, I need to help out. And I don't know. I don't know if it's my screw up, but we had a check-in today that I think screwed up our our web application, and it was my fault because I didn't was,
Yeah.
reviewing the code, or is it the person who wrote the code? I guess it's ultimately falls to me, so I might have to fix that later tonight.
You know, I've seen
But
your workspace and your like the office you work in. So the picture in my head shouldn't be what it is. Because I've seen it in person. But for some reason, just like the picture in my head, every time I think of like people programming for a living, it's just like a long hallway with just nothing but dark closets that have like a single computer in each closet and a person shoved in there. And like eventually one of the guys will like pop out of the closet and be like, "Oh, I got an update on the thing." And like the boss will be like, "Oh yeah, this is great." And then just shove them right back in the closet with a broom or whatever. And he's like, "Get back to work."
that's right. I need to get a broom just for that. Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah, we got 3 huge monitors. Like, I don't know that I've ever actually had 3 monitors at work before this job, so it's pretty cool.
No, for a cubicle workspace, it's pretty fancy looking.
Yeah. I got my amiibos around my, under my monitors, and what else? I don't know. I have like a music box that plays Zelda. I think it played Song of Storms. So,
That is one of the
yeah.
best songs from Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, it's pretty nice. I didn't even ask for it. It was just a random, probably like a stocking stuffer that Peach gave me a couple
That
years
is a
ago. So.
crazy stocking stuffer.
Why?
Well, it's just because it's probably not very expensive, so it makes sense to be a stocking stuffer, but it's just not something you would imagine somebody would bother to stuff into a stocking.
Or maybe she just handed it to me. I don't remember, but I know it was a gift. But it was pretty cool because I'm like, yeah, I agree. That's like the best song from the game. So.
No, I don't think it. Well, it's going to vary. I'm not going to say it's not the best. I think the best one is the Gerudo Valley theme, but they're pretty close to each other.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I actually like that one a little better, but that one would be hard to stuff into a music box.
It would. Yeah.
Like there's a lot of percussion, so
Well, I don't think for a music box you want the melody to come through, right? And I don't even think it's necessarily just the percussion, but it doesn't really have like simply a straight melody. Like part of the sound you get from the melody is how it plays with the rhythm in the background too. It's just too many tracks in general. Well, like any of the actual Ocarina songs, while there are versions of them that have multiple tracks, literally the only thing you know is the melody because that's what Link plays. So all of them are better, you know. Fizjozo's here. Hey, Fizjozo. He's apparently happy that Big Mouth is finally over. I'm indifferent. I mean, I never watched it in the first place, but hey, I guess I'm slightly happier because maybe I don't have to hear about it anymore. So there's that. And he wants to know what everyone thinks of Romo and Krim now that everyone can fully understand the plot. I thought it was all right. I still don't know where it's going. So for a short little pilot, it's kind of just all right. But it looks like it has potential. You should keep with it. But yeah. Should probably talk about stuff. What do I got up? Oh, I lost him. It's probably because he came in. It's probably at his computer now.
Oh, you couldn't hear me. I kept talking and nobody was hearing me. So
No, it probably did that thing again when you
yeah.
Yeah.
So I was saying, what is Romo and Krim?
That's Fischoso's animated thing that he does. His little 3D
Oh,
animation.
gotcha.
Yeah, he dropped it in the shilling area again because he added subtitles to it, which, again, my biggest criticism from when he dropped it originally was that I really couldn't understand what, like, half of it was being said with the voice acting. So having subtitles improved it dramatically,
Oh, okay.
A lot of times I think just having subtitles improves things because if you can't understand, you could just read.
Yeah. That's good. I am on my computer, but it'll take me a minute to switch over. So
Yeah.
I'll stay right here for a little while.
Yeah, so how do you feel about the Care Bears in general?
I feel it's a children's show.
Yeah.
I haven't watched since I was a kid.
Even as a kid, how did you feel about it?
I guess I liked it. I mean, I used to watch like Strawberry Shortcake and stuff like that, so I didn't have anything against.
Better to watch.
I watched pretty much every kids show there was, I think, in the 80s and 90s.
Yeah. Yeah, I had nothing against like certain shows being like guys or girl shows or anything like that. I would watch them. Like I used to watch Gem and the Holograms with my cousin,
me too.
Right, I love Gem.
Me
and the
too.
Holograms.
Yeah.
But Care Bears to me, I just always thought it was kind of lame. I don't know, maybe if it was just like
Really?
the stories that they chose. I just didn't care for them. It was like this is. I don't even know how to properly explain why I thought it was lame.
I don't think I remember enough. It's kind of cool that they could like shoot beams of energy out of their
Yeah, they had like
stomachs.
weird laser cannons that weren't really lasers because not all of them did pain. Like they would have different effects or whatever. It's like this is just my heart ray that does whatever my special emotion that is tattooed onto my stomach is. The Care Bear stare, where like all of them beam you at once. Yeah. I always thought it was kind of lame. I'd watch it anyway, but it's getting a live action movie.
See, nowadays I think of that in terms of the what is it called? The penance stare.
The penance stare from like
Ghost Rider.
Yeah, the penance. Yeah, and it's just like, be penitent for your sins, and then you just fry to death.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right, I'll be right back. Hold on one
Okay.
second.
Care Bears is meant for 6-year-olds, plain and simple? Maybe. But I'll tell you, even when I was like watching reruns at 5 and 6, I still thought it was lame. But yeah, apparently the Care Bears are getting a live action movie. Hey, Mike. How you doing? Dropping in the like, share, and say hi as usual. And, oh, he dropped out, which means I'm split in half for a second. I don't like that. Let me fix this. There we go. And they're going to go for, like, that comedy route. I guess kind of similar. Like, everybody saw the Smurfs movie, and you're like, this... Shoot, should have waited another minute. Forgot how long it takes Discord to open. Hey, I'll be there. I'll be here waiting. The show's not going anywhere, other than I guess the time ticking. But I imagine the route they're going is something similar to like the Smurfs movie, and I always thought the Smurfs movie was kind of lame. Like the best part of the Smurfs movie was the first 20 minutes while it was still all completely animated before they went to New York. Like everything, like once they hit the city, I thought it was lame. I hated that, and I think that's the route they're going here. The director is the same guy who made Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves. I think, yeah, and it's also gonna have the producers there. So, or no, he's not the director of Honor Among Thieves. It's just a cult comedy director and producers from Honor Among Thieves. You worded that so horribly, article. But the director is going to be Josh Greenbaum, who I'm not familiar with his work off the top of my head. Let me look.
Here I am.
Hey.
Does that sound any better?
Audio, yes. Your voice somehow sounded less hoarse when you were through the worst microphone.
Well, hit it. Wasn't as clear. I am seeing a lot of movies I've never heard of.
Yeah, I've never seen any of these at all from this Josh Greenbaum guy.
Goofy looking 46-year-old guy.
Yeah.
He looks like he's about 30.
He has a golf movie. I do like watching stupid golf movies. Maybe I'll give that a try at some point in time. But anyway, yeah, but from him, game? Yeah, the short game. It looked like it were kids, I think. But he'll be directing the Care Bear movie, and apparently a bunch of people who produced Dungeons and Dragons: Honor Among Thieves will also be in there. And it's going to be one of those cases. It's going to be like Ted, right, in a way, except not as Seth MacFarlane type funny, where it's going to be like live action people and these like animated teddy bears walking around a bunch of live action people.
It sounds like it could be like horrific, like a horror movie almost.
Oh yeah, especially with like the Care Bear stare coming out of this little thing. I think it'd probably be better if it was a horror comedy instead of just like a regular straight up Smurf style comedy.
Yeah, definitely. What I was gonna say is what they need to do is a live action adaptation of the 1980s Dungeons and Dragons cartoon. And it needs to be directed by the guy who directed that one commercial.
That car commercial? It was like a Brazilian one.
Yeah.
Dude, car commercials go hard, especially foreign car commercials. Like they go harder than anything we make here. There's that one, and there's also, I think it was maybe a French commercial, but there's that like Wacky Racers commercial too that goes really hard.
Wacky Racers. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the Hanna-Barbera characters.
Yeah. Like, I believe it was one of the Italian companies, but I think the commercial was made by the French. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it had all of them. Okay. It was great.
Yeah. Yeah, so
the guy made off
I
was
was
Penelope
sick for like...
stop at the end.
No, I don't know if I've seen that. I'm going to have to Google that one.
Yeah.
Wacky Racers commercial. I was just gonna say, I was sick for like 2 weeks, so it was pretty bad, and it kept like coming back. But I'm not sick anymore. It's just my throat is taking a while to heal from all of the puking that I did a week ago, and then a lot of coughing. Yeah. So I feel fine. I feel great. I'm 100% actually. Just the voice. So. Yeah, what the heck is that? I don't think I've ever seen this.
Oh no, it's a great commercial.
Was this just? I guess it's a. Oh, it says Brazil, but so is it? Did it just go viral?
Yeah.
No, this is. Oh, it's a commercial for a Peugeot, right? So that's a French car, but. Mm-hmm. It says VML Brazil. I don't know.
Yeah. So okay, I was getting it wrong. That was the one that was made by the Brazilian company. The commercial
Okay.
anyway. So a lot of like nations, what they'll do is like obviously these countries or companies are international, even if they're located in a single one. So you'll have like local car commercials that are made for like the local people. So the Brazilian studio that made it for airing in Brazil did it for the French company. And that's why I said like foreign car commercials go
Oh,
way
I see.
harder than ours. Like we don't do that kind of stuff here. At least not anymore. I think we used to back in like the late 90s and early aughts, but we kind of dropped it. And they'll spend like
Yeah.
an episode of a TV show budget on like a 40-second commercial.
I know, right? This is crazy. You want me to show this?
Oh,
wait,
yeah, sure,
is
if you
that-
want.
is
It's a
that-
great commercial. Let me
Oh, she looks like what's her name? Taylor Swift, but I don't think it is.
No. So we missed. Joshua said, "I can't wait for the Care Bear to have a realistic panic attack. I'm sure one of them will." That's how movies are these days.
Let me see here. Applications. There we go. Yeah. Are you ready?
Mhm.
Is it
I mean,
full
I've
screen?
seen this before,
All
but
right.
it's great. Yeah, let's go.
I am like almost certain I've never seen this commercial. Did not know it existed.
There's a lot of these commercials where I'll like periodically go back and rewatch it.
Man, I'm gonna have to like watch Wacky. I don't remember half these characters.
Yo, I love the Wacky Racers. They're great.
Like I remember the dog that kind of laughed,
Muttley.
all hoarse sounding. Yeah. And the bad guy, and I remember was it Captain Caveman? Is that one of them?
No, it wasn't. It was I'm trying to remember their name. They were different cavemen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the guy with Muttley is Dick Dastardly.
Right, I remember that guy.
They were, I think, originally from was it Stop the Pigeon or Catch the Pigeon? I can't remember the name of the show, but they were like Red Baron type people, and they were trying to get like the World War One carrier pigeon because he kept having the messages on it, and every episode was about them failing to get this pigeon. And those were the best two people from it, so they carried over. And even Penelope,
And then who's that?
Penelope Pitstop, she was also the lead of another show. I don't remember if it was before or after Wacky Racers. But there was like a whole crew of people that were constantly trying to get her because she was like this famous celebrity driver.
And I remember you can keep it on here for 1 second.
The D&D one.
Yeah. Wasn't she in no, not Speed Racer. Maybe I'm thinking of must be thinking of the I must be thinking of Wacky Races. I remember her.
Yeah, she was in that, and there was also a Penelope Pitstop show.
Okay. I don't know if I ever saw that show, but
Yeah.
yeah, what's with these car commercials? Like we need to get awesome car commercials again.
Yeah,
But
because they really, really respect the thing that they're putting into the commercial when they do these.
yeah, they got Tiamat. That's crazy.
And everyone looks exactly like the character.
I know. Well, they're perfect. What was that guy's name?
I don't remember. You know how long it's been since I've watched that show?
Yeah.
Yeah, it
You
was
got
the Perils
you
of
got the
Penelope.
Shield.
Pit Stop. Thank you. And then it was Dastardly's Flying Machines. Okay.
Yeah.
So it was the other way around. They all came from the Wacky Races. I didn't watch them in the order they came out. I just watched random reruns. So like I've looked it up at some point, but trying to remember the order everything came out, it slips your mind.
I mean,
It was just a theme song that was like "Stop the Pigeon." That was it. Stop the pigeon.
Crazy. See, I mean, that's like, I want to see this. Turn this into a movie right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, even the kids were like perfect. Let's see. How do I
Well, I
say
mean, they'd have to get new people because that was made so many
it? Of
years ago that
course.
those kids won't be perfect anymore.
Yeah.
But I think
My
actually
God.
what we should do is we should just have those stuff being made by foreign studios and then just dub them over.
Mhm.
Because apparently foreign studios will do it right.
Apparently. Hockey pieces.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I don't know. It's so
wacky
long
races,
ago. I can't
yeah.
really remember. I feel like there was. I might have been even thinking about a different show. Maybe it was like a follow-up show, or did they have different characters every week or something? Like different characters from other Hanna-Barbera cartoons, maybe.
No, I don't think so.
Because I thought I remember like sometimes they would have like, Scooby-Doo and stuff.
No, but there was also Scooby-Doo and the Reluctant Werewolf, which was like a wacky racist style movie that you've probably seen. Where it's like it was Shaggy was turned into a werewolf and he had to race against a bunch of like movie monster type people, but the movie basically functioned like the wacky races.
Yeah.
Like if you just took a clip out of it, you would not even be able to tell that it wasn't part of the same series, you know?
Yeah. There is an AI created Wacky Races live action teaser trailer with Jim Carrey as what's that guy's name?
Dick Dastardly, yeah. Which is so funny if you watch the show. Dick Dastardly could have easily won every single race if he wasn't such a dick and trying to like foil everyone else and get them into wrecks and stuff. Because for him to do all of the things that he did, set up the traps and everything, it meant he had to pull so far ahead of everyone else. It's like, dude, if you just kept going, you would have won.
Yeah. Seriously. Matthew McConaughey as Lazy Luke.
Lazy Luke. Yeah.
Crazy. So, Care Bears, is there a trailer or they just announced it?
It was just an announcement. Buck says Jim could 100% play Dastardly. Honestly, I feel like his Eggman is more Dick Dastardly than it is Eggman, so I would agree.
Huh. I mean, there was a Care Bears movie, but it was a cartoon.
Yeah. No, it was just an announcement that we got within this week.
You know what actually does look good is the live action How to Train Your Dragon.
Oh,
I think it looks. Yeah, I mean, at least what they showed.
I don't like the casting for
like it was
Astrid,
just-
so I'm out.
Who was it? Remember?
It was somebody
I
who
don't know if I've
looked
seen
nothing
it.
like Astrid, so...
Was it? It wasn't America Ferrer or whatever her name is, right?
No. Which is perfectly
She
fine
was
for
the
you
voice.
to voice whoever you want because, you're just a voice.
Nico Parker? I don't even know who that is. She didn't have blonde hair.
No, I think she's black. Or like maybe mixed. She's very fair skin, but very dark curly hair. She just doesn't look like Astrid at all. And I'm like, why
She has
even
curly hair
do
in
it?
the movie?
Let me look
curly.
at her in the movie. She kind of has like heavily braided dread style hair, like two pigtails going on the side, but it's not like typically what you would consider Viking braids to be.
Yeah. Plus, she's not blonde.
Yeah.
Like, she's supposed
She's got blonde highlights in her hair. But that doesn't really matter, Yeah, I remember seeing that announcement. Like, listen, I was already not on board with the live action How to Train Your Dragons. Then I saw her, and like, nah.
Well, yeah. Hard to say. Some
They're
of the
supposed
pictures
to
of
be
her
like
look
Norse Vikings, okay? It's one of the few stories where like everyone should be very, very pale white people.
Yeah, and very blonde. Wait, she's not. Is she black?
She
She's very
is.
beautiful.
She's just very,
She's very
very fair skin.
well. That's some. Ugh. Ugh. Why? Anyway, they don't show her in the trailer, so that's smart.
Yeah, they're trying to make sure people don't see that.
Yeah, seriously. Lord. It's like, I mean, I think that there are these actual rules, and it's kind of crazy that there are rules like this where it's like you have to, like, I don't know what happens if they don't, like they won't get funding, or
Oh yeah.
certainly wouldn't be eligible for like an Oscar, but it's like it almost feels like it's under duress.
It
Like,
is.
we have to cast a black person as a white character. It's not a choice. It's crazy.
Yeah. Buck even says it looks like they're trying to give Astrid an even more of an important role than she had in the original film. That's yeah. But I think they would have done that regardless of who they casted, just because she's the closest thing to a female lead they have. And anytime you do one of these things, you have to give the female lead even more scenes, more lines.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a shame because she was really no more important than any of the other kids, right?
Yeah, not really until any of the follow-up stuff. Like, I know in the second one she had more. I mean, her importance was the fact that obviously,
she's a love interest.
Hiccup had a love thing for her. But then like the second movie, and then also the Writers of Urk TV series, she had a lot more to do in it.
Which I liked. I liked that show.
But she was almost even.
I think I watched most of it.
At first, she's almost kind of like a thwart until like halfway through the movie, even though she's a love interest. But I think all the kids are a thwart to him just because of the way he is.
Yeah, they're all pretty antagonistic, but even when everyone else likes him because he's winning at the training, she kind of it's like, what's up with this guy? Kind of mad because she was the best one before.
They made Roughnut fat too. Why? We need to have our fat acceptance token character in there, I guess. I don't know.
Wait, are you sure that's not? Obviously the other guy. What's that guy? Fish Legs.
Fish Legs, yeah.
He's fat.
I don't know. They said, or Joshua said Roughnut was fat. Yeah, I don't remember.
Yeah,
I just remember most of them weren't fat.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense because they're supposed to be twins and they're supposed to look almost identical. I mean, at least in the movie, they look.
Yeah. I see. It's awful.
Yeah, that's a terrible. I mean, the other three look pretty good. Well, see, that's okay. So that's I get what's going on. They can't cast women in the right roles.
No.
Like, I don't understand this. Like, I'm like, oh, the others, yeah, all three of the guys look perfect. They look exactly the way they're supposed to. All four of the guys. The girls are just completely miscast. Like, we got to make this one fat. We got to make this one black, a black Viking.
Wait.
Like, it's almost like Hollywood hates girls.
I think I recognize that guy. Wait. Is that is Fish Legs being played by Firestarter from Deadpool 2?
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
I thought I recognized him. He was also in the second Christmas Chronicles, right? Where he played Berschnickel, or Belschnickel, that's his name. And he was really good in that role.
Well, I will say she looks okay. It's just her hair. I wish, like, they could have like made her hair blonde.
Yeah. Just either dye your hair or like bleach it, wear a wig, and just stay indoors for like 2 months straight, get literally every bit of natural melanin out of your system as possible. You could redarken yourself
Well,
after the movie.
but
I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, she looks white to me.
No, it doesn't look white to me at all.
But well, in the movie, like really?
Yeah, like even in the preview shots and everything.
Seems like it depends on the lighting and the scene. But
And I also agree with Buck. He says, I don't know. Hiccup looks too traditional Hollywood pretty boy to me. He's supposed to be scrawny and almost sickly looking. The problem is, like, the actor who played him at the time that the movie came out, I mean, he was already an adult, but he looked younger than he was. He probably could have still played a live-action Hiccup back then, because he already kind of looked like him. He was also the dude who was in, when he was, like, a late teenager, was a Sorcerer's Apprentice. Oh, let me...
no, that's not the same guy.
I thought that was the same guy who played Hiccup. Either that or there's two guys. Yeah, the voice actor, the original the Hiccup is what I was saying.
Yeah.
Like back when the movie originally came out, he looked exactly like the character he was playing.
Yes, that is true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah. Joshua said nobody clip that. Oh, the part where I said get rid of the melanin. Listen, man,
So
I
you
care
look like a
about
Viking.
visual
I mean, come on.
accuracy. That's all I give a shit about.
I mean,
Yeah.
in a different movie, she'd be fine.
Yeah.
Playing a Viking, it's like, I'm sorry, but it's not accurate. Do you think this guy looks like Pretty Boy?
Buck said, and I kind of agree with him.
Oh, well.
They do a little bit more to make him look less so with the way he wears his hair and stuff, but I don't know. They need to pick somebody who's dorkier looking.
I think he looks fine. I don't know. I mean,
He's the least of my complaints, though, in general.
Toothless looks amazing.
Yeah.
I
Like,
mean, they got that perfect.
I would definitely agree that he looks fine. You know, he's not the best casting you could do, but he is a perfectly acceptable casting. But if everybody else looked right, he would probably be the most off-looking person.
Yeah. Now,
And the boy looks fine. Of the twins, I think he's casted well. He's got like that long face that the original guy had.
yeah, they couldn't find a girl that looks. I mean, they totally could have.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I think all four of the boys are perfectly fine. They're well cast. That is not Rough Nut. That's
Yeah.
Did she eat the third triplet, or I mean, what the hell?
Probably.
I mean, fish legs. That guy's perfect for fish legs. I don't, the guy in the back. He kind of looks like what's his name, but
And at least the costume department and the visual effects department, they're what's carrying this trailer. Like all of the props and stuff look very, very accurate to the animation. But
although, what is this outfit? She looks like Snow White almost.
almost.
It's a little too colorful, I think.
Yeah.
See, I mean, she's cute. That's fine. She's fine. I think to me. But Roughneck bothers me. Like, what the hell? She's not supposed to be fat. I don't think he looks. I think he looks dorky, but what do I know? But yeah, I think the visual effects are gonna. See, that's the thing. If they want to win like an Oscar for visual effects,
They have to have that.
at least,
At
least they cast the whitest black girl ever.
Yeah. Like if you were telling me that she was playing like a Mediterranean European, like after the Moorish conquest, I would totally believe that. Like you wouldn't even have to tell me otherwise. But like a Scandinavian.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I mean, she does kind of have like olive skin, so she'd be better as Greek or something. But, you know, what are you gonna do? I'm tempted by that. I love that movie so much, the original. Of course, if they ruin it, that'll be all the more painful. I suppose.
I guess.
Buck,
No, you can always
Buck
just go
says,
back and watch the original, right? Like that's what I think about all these
I
things
know.
that are
Oh, I do.
live action. It's like when Aladdin came out, I just popped in the original Aladdin and watched that again instead.
Well, I mean, that was a joke. Buck says the other dragon. Well, first he says Metal's right, of course.
Yeah.
Then he says the other dragons look like they're just generic fantasy dragon. Well,
Oh, well, both
don't know.
when
I
he
mean, it
said
showed-
I'm right and was with when Fishosa said was the same guy. It was when you were confused about what I was saying about how the voice actor who played Hiccup was in Sorcerer's Apprentice. That's what they were saying I was right about.
Oh, I see. Yes, I didn't realize we were talking about the voice act.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Which was a good movie.
but
Honestly, I feel like that's a very underrated movie, The Sorcerer's Apprentice, especially for something that is kind of, sort of, technically a sequel. It's a spin-off, but it's a spin-off of Fantasia.
yeah,
Yeah.
there was one scene. I'm not gonna show it again, but I mean, yeah, the one that bursts into flames that he has to fight at the end of the training, they did not get that one right at all. That does not look right.
The fat dragon
the one
looked right,
scene
the
where it
giant one.
shows, yeah, but there was one where they show a bunch of them flying, and they all look pretty unique. It shows a Grunkle, and it shows like the one with two heads, and the one that the Astrid has. It's only for like a split second, but they're all in there. We'll see. Kung Fu Panda. We watched all of the Kung Fu Panda movies, and
Like in order, I think.
what was it? The fourth one was awful.
Just
right?
awful. Yeah. Absolutely awful.
That was the one with the chameleon.
Yeah, it was with the Empress Chameleon chick. It had Aquafina as like the little. I think she was supposed to be a fox or whatever.
Yeah.
The heir, the next dragon warrior, or whatever. Awful. Even the script felt like it was phoned in, and like none of the
Yeah.
the Furious Five were even in it. Or like, I guess they were.
I
were
watched-
credited, but it was for like. Jackie Chan was credited for just screaming at the end during the training session or whatever.
Yeah. I watched a whole video on why Kung Fu Panda 4 sucked.
Oh, okay.
And it's like, yeah, because like the first three I thought were good.
I agree with Buck though that while I liked 2 and 3 as movies, they did completely miss the point of the first one. But that's very
Trying to
common
remember-
for animated sequels, though.
I mean, one of them was like Inner Peace, right? Is that the second one with the cannons? Where they made all the cannons,
Yeah.
and he like learned how to like reverse a cannonball, like spin a cannonball in
In
his
what
hands.
way did they miss the point? Well, so the point of the original one is kind of, sort of, don't judge the book by the cover, but that's not like the full point. That's just kind of like bedded in there. But it's the whole things aren't quite what you see, and you have to like believe in yourself, right? Like those are ultimately the messages of the first one. And they kind of at least keep the whole things aren't quite what they seem point to it as a through line. But I think they just missed the whole point of the Dragon Warrior from the beginning. Like, and everything after that, especially the fourth one.
I thought 2 was really good because it did carry forth the same. I thought it had basically the same message. Again, he didn't believe in himself, and then he learned how to sort of figured it out or whatever. Seemed like I liked 2 because they were just the enemy, even though it was like a crane or something, or maybe a peacock. I guess it was a peacock.
Yeah, it was the peacock.
Yeah,
Well,
and
but
that
that's
was
the problem
one
though,
with
like
the,
because
cannons.
he shouldn't have the problems that he has in 2 and 3 after the first one though. Like he's still training, and you could still argue that he's like not the best warrior, but they just kind of keep recycling the fact that like Poe still underestimates himself, especially what was it, number 3, where he has to learn to be a teacher. And it's like after the first one, Poe should stop underestimating himself. He should the whole point was that he learned to go with the flow. You know, like this is his destiny. He was the chosen one. And he accepted, like, okay, and that's why he wins too, because he accepted, like, I'm unorthodox, but that's exactly the reason why I was the one who was chosen. And then he just kind of like has no self-confidence for like the rest of the series, except in the spin-off, technically still canon. They reference it in the movies, animated series that aired on like Nickelodeon or whatever. It's the only time he has any confidence, and then it disappears again when you get back to the movies.
Well, I could see in the second one he has a bit of what do you call it, imposter syndrome.
Yeah,
where he's not sure he was picked correctly or something. But yeah, I can't really remember third.
yeah.
Oh, the third one was the one where he's turning them into jade statues.
Yes, it was the old partner of Oogway that he trapped in the spirit realm. The rhino guy came out.
Yeah, so that one did kind of suck too. Okay, so I only liked 1 and 2. But anyway.
Or was he not a rhino? I'm trying to remember. He was big and bulky.
He might have been.
Maybe. We watched it recently too. I can't remember. I'm seeing like the general shape of him in my head, but I can't remember what he was. I just remember he had those big God of War chain swords.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I think Buck wants to come on and complain.
All right.
Well, I mean, he has the moderator power. He can hop in whenever he wants. I don't ever have to bring him on.
Yeah. Well, anyway, I like 1 and 2. But what were we talking? Care Bears.
We were talking about Care Bears a long time ago. We were talking. You brought up the How to Train Your Dragon live action.
Yeah.
Oh, here. Hey, Buck.
I'm in trouble.
Hello.
Hey, what did you want to complain about?
I just wanted to bring this up while the Kung Fu Panda topic was still going, because this would take too much time for me to type.
He was an ox. Thank you, Fish.
So, yeah, like an ox or water buffalo. But the big reason I feel like the sequels lost the point of the first one is that, one, yeah, like Metal said, it basically retread the same lesson. Also, Poe was gifted, but he wasn't this uber competent kung fu warrior. The reason he was the dragon warrior was because he was supposed to be the one to fight Tai Lung. And the reason he was the one to fight Tai Lung is because who he was as a whole was Tai Lung's perfect counter.
Yeah, but also that's not the reason why he was the dragon warrior, though. Like, as per the actual plot of the movie, because the idea of the dragon warrior predated that. And the whole reason Tai Lung even became a bad guy, I mean, he always had the darkness in his heart, but it was because he was denied being the dragon warrior.
Well, the dragon warrior was foretold in prophecy by Oogway.
Yes.
Yeah. And Oogway's the one who said Tai Lung coming is what needed the dragon warrior.
Part of it, yes. But he pretty much set up that it was something bigger than that, even in the first movie. I don't think the sequels capitalized on that at all, though.
Yeah, it's just who Poe was as a person is why he's the dragon warrior, not just because he's uber competent. It's also because he does not think the way a traditional martial artist does. He does not act the way a traditional martial artist does. He can do things that they don't because he thinks outside the box. He is not your He is not your typical person, and especially in the case of dealing with Tai Lung, his fat body means that his nerve attack, which is his ace up his sleeve, doesn't work. Also causes Tai Lung's normally very powerful strikes to fall flat. He is surprisingly strong, so even though he doesn't tend to go on the offensive, he can hurt Tai Lung if he has to. But the big thing is just how he functions mentally and spiritually. He's someone you can't really prepare for because even he doesn't really know what he's going to do.
Yeah, well, like I said before, he's unorthodox. That's like the entire point. Which is like a real thing in martial arts is you kind of just become prepared for whatever the orthodoxy, whatever the standard, the meta, if you play fighting games, would be that way. And when you have to deal with something that's completely unorthodox, you don't have a game plan for it. And sometimes people can adapt to it, but if it's like out of the blue, you end up playing their game instead of them playing yours, which is exactly what happened to Tai Lung. He had a game that he played, like with it that you mentioned, the whole nerve pressure point strikes that he did. And when he ended up fighting Poe, it became the other way around. He had to play Poe's game. And we saw them set up all of Poe's games, like the chopstick, what's it called? Shell game and everything that he did. All the stuff that he did during the training earlier that looked completely crazy. He forced Tai Lung to do that stuff, and that's part of the unorthodoxy of the character. And with who Oogway was, you should have always expected that the Dragon Warrior was going to be somebody completely unorthodox.
Yes.
Yeah, they had a lot of payoff at the end of the first one. They earned a lot of the,
They earned
tricks and the
everything.
moves. They showed him doing those things earlier, so it really paid off. The second one, they really just had the one move, which was like catching a cannonball.
Yeah.
Yeah, which also another problem with the second and third one is Poe's reputation and how people act towards him. Like, by the end of the first one, he is officially a member of the Furious Five. He is known as the Dragon Warrior, and he already has one of the most significant wins in the history of Kung Fu under his belt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's really dumb that everyone else still treats him like he's a dumb fat panda when he's obviously proven very much otherwise.
And he treats himself like he's a dumb fat panda too. Like that is definitely the thing that I disliked about everything after that. It just, the first movie on its own has really good payoff. The other, like the sequels and even the TV series, feels like it doesn't capitalize. Like that payoff meant nothing. Like you basically got taxed for watching that.
Yeah, like, stupidly enough, it feels like Tigress is the only person who actually addresses what Poe's done correctly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hear you.
I think it was
They can never
Mhm.
they can never seem to match, in these series. They do the first one perfectly, and then what happens? They get bad writers. I don't understand why that happens. They're just under more, or they're more motivated by it's we need to make a sequel than we need to make a good movie.
Yeah.
The issue is that we have too many, like, directors and writers and everything nowadays who just get a story that they want to write and they don't give a damn if it actually matches up to anything that's going on.
Yeah, I think there's also the fact is like, well, this is the type of plot the first one has, so like, how can we do this again? I think that's a lot of what happens. As Joshua says, it's kind of like the problem with most sequels. You see that, I mean, this is a competitor, DreamWorks, but you go back to like the Disney direct-to-video sequels throughout like the 90s and aughts, and you see a lot of that where it's like, it doesn't really matter where the movie was at the end of the last one. We're just going to retread the same stuff because that was what the first movie was, right? Even if it made no sense. You also get that a lot with the spin-off TV series, where I think the only exception to that TV series specifically is Aladdin, where the Aladdin TV series, they were willing to do whatever, like go in every direction. And Aladdin and Jasmine were actually like really close as characters in that series.
Meanwhile, the Aladdin movies, as far as they're concerned, you could skip Return of Jafar entirely, and the only plot point you're missing from there in King of Thieves is that Iago's a good guy now.
Yeah. To be fair, also, like, I think we could just get rid of both of them. I like Aladdin and the King of Thieves. I think it's a fun movie, but also I was complaining about this, or Supio could tell you it was like 3 or 4 days ago. It was like, it makes no sense. They should have gotten married like really short after the first one ended. There should have been no room for any sequels whatsoever, even considering a sequel that starts tomorrow. I don't care. The wedding should have been tomorrow. And somehow they go through 2 whole movies to the end of the third one before the wedding actually happens. The whole plot of the third one being delaying the wedding.
Yeah, I don't know if it's because I think it's just because they needed to continue the story, and so it's just like,
if they get married, it's over.
yeah,
Probably what they thought. It's like, no, dude, you could have a story with them married. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Do you have any idea how many shenanigans could occur with Aladdin as Sultan?
Even though technically he shouldn't be Sultan, actually.
Technically he shouldn't be, but that's where the story was going for some reason.
That was always a problem for me, because they believe, like, they think there were never female sultans, or there's a name for a sultana. No, they were. It's a monarchy. A sultan's literally just like a king. So it's like, it's whoever the bloodline goes to. Yeah, if the last sultan had sons, would you prefer to give it to a son? Sure, but if you only have a daughter, she becomes sultana. He would be the equivalent of the royal consort.
Which I have no idea what that was called back in that area. I do not recall.
But if we're translating it, like, we should just call the Sultan King anyway. He should be Prince Ali, because the royal consort does get the title of prince in most monarchies. So it's
Well, that movie bothers me on multiple levels, but we don't need to talk about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of issues.
Mostly the whole, well, we talked about, when he said, like, the genie wanted him to tell the truth, but it was like, well, the truth is that he is a prince because the genie made him a prince.
Yeah, the wish did actually make him a prince.
Yeah, he should have had an entire country,
Or he should have at least been like snuck into somebody else's family line, where he was like, I don't know, the 6th or 7th son, somebody who would never get the country anyway. Those are the type of princes you go and marry off to other countries.
Yeah. Well, there you go.
Yeah, they're not going to ever ascend to your throne, so you marry them off to another country to make allies and get your bloodline to their throne.
You'd be less likely to start a war with each other.
So yeah, they could have made him the prince of that area, or maybe sultan. But then, like, his brothers should have shown up, and they'd be like, "Wait, who are you?" Yeah, we're the other princes, right? Because you're a prince. We came into existence the moment the genie.
Yeah, but
see, obviously, it's not the original.
Oh, I was gonna say,
sorry.
My thing when Genie said to be yourself, tell the truth, he wasn't saying like, even sure, the wish makes him a prince. Doesn't matter. It's more of like, he's still not a prince on the inside, though. He's that street rat that she met, and that part of the plot, like, it makes sense. Like, that was even the person she liked that she met, was that street rat.
Yeah. Oh well.
But I do have a lot of other issues in general. One I don't have, though, actually, was one of the thing that prompted that whole conversation a few days ago was that was a case of character race swapping that I thought was actually right, because in the original Aladdin story, he's technically Kashmir. from like the Chinese side. So the type of people you would just call them Chinese because that part of Kashmir is in China. It's not the majority part that I believe is in India right now. But he was from Kashmir, and it was along the Silk Road. So he would have been a foreigner, and I think it works better if everybody is just the same in that. Like, I have no problem with that. I think that was a good decision on Disney there. In fact, having read the original story, that has lasted a really long time. It's not a bad story. I actually think Disney might have made the superior story there.
That would have been probably a little confusing if he had been
Yeah.
Chinese or... Are you sure he wouldn't have been like Indian?
Well,
Would have been-
it was from the area of Kashmir, because Kashmir used to just be its own region, its like own kingdom or whatever. But the area he would have been from is currently in China.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Because Kashmir's kind of been divided among 3 different places. The bulk of it's in India, but you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Well,
Well,
did you see
we
that
did
the
have
live action. I was going to say, speaking of live action, you see the live action Zelda movie was delayed by 2 months.
I did not.
It seems like such a small thing.
They delayed the start of production, so they also had to delay the end, like when it's going to hit theaters, or
Yeah, I don't know. They didn't really explain, but Shigeru Miyamoto. In fact, it's really just about 5 weeks.
Okay.
So the film was originally slated to release March 26, 2027.
Month and change.
But now it's May 7th.
Well, they better get on the ball making it, because it takes a long time to make a movie, especially if you have to have like visual effects that are done through the digital and everything. That ends up taking longer than shooting the movie. So
Yeah. I'm guessing it. They have like these things scheduled out for years in advance. So maybe there's something else that's coming out that weekend.
Well, Joshua says they moved it further away from Godzilla versus Kong.
Oh, okay.
Which is a big movie. I don't... Like, I could see maybe not wanting to compete directly against it. I don't know how much of an audience overlap you have there. Other than, like, the general audience probably would want to see both, so maybe you just don't want to compete in general audience.
Yeah. What was the other?
Yeah.
Oh, shoot. I'm trying to...
You see how they were trying to AstroTurf a dude being played as Zelda like a month ago? It wasn't even a month. It was like just a couple of weeks, but
I don't know. I mean, there's obviously some fake news media thing.
Oh, it was being pushed by the agency that represents the actor. They completely AstroTurfed. Yeah.
Yeah.
What movie are you talking about? Zelda.
Oh, man.
The live-action Legend of Zelda movie. Which, as long as the casting's not bad, I'm hopeful for. Because as we looked, I saw the... as long as Zelda's not a dude. Personally, I want like a no-name for almost everyone in the movie. Like, I can understand maybe Ganondorf picking somebody who's like older, has made a name. That's perfectly fine.
As long as it's...
Yeah.
As long as it's not Jack Black.
Oh yeah, yeah, no.
I don't know. Big dark skinned guy. Modern Hollywood will probably just snap pick Idris Elba.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Might just throw Dave Bautista in there. Right, because they could just they could tan him up.
Or The Rock.
Yeah, oh god, The Rock is that's like something we would have joked about maybe a decade and a half ago is like The Rock as Ganondorf. But the thing is, like,
I
can
don't know.
actually see
I
that.
feel like that would. I feel like that would at least make the film veer into the so bad it's fun category,
Possibly. Can you smell what?
which is still an improvement over most films nowadays that are just so bad they're boring.
Yeah. Ganondorf will have to be black. I would actually prefer if he was a darker person. Maybe like Southern Asian, you know, from like the Middle East or whatever, like the Southern Arabia or whatever. I think would be fine. Yeah. If you can find like a Southern Arabian guy to play Ganondorf that's tall enough, I think that would probably be good.
Yeah. Are they gonna find a bunch of tan Amazons to play the Gerudo?
Probably not.
They're just gonna have multiple people be CGI'd, and they're just gonna cast Gal Gadot as every Gerudo.
It should have been animated.
Kurume and Kotake.
Joshua says, I think we all agree it should have been animated as long as it was the right studio. Actually, because I like the guy who's directing this and a lot of the stuff that he said. So as long as he sticks to what he said, I would prefer this live action to some choices for animated studios. But if you had a good studio, I would prefer that over this, right? Like if they went to like Ghibli or something like that, I think that would have been great. If they went to Illumination, it's like, I imagine it would be awful because of what they'd want to do to something. Like Zelda's more serious than Mario. I would prefer live action over going to Illumination. DreamWorks would probably do an okay job, depending on who the director was.
Yeah. Could be, I suppose.
Yeah. But yeah, for Link and Zelda, I want no names. I want teenagers who've basically never had a role, or if they did, they were like minor things, and this is like their first big break. That's what I want for them, those two.
I don't want any, like... or
no Disney Channel actors.
Like, yeah, I was going to say, like, you know, what do they call it? LOL so random, you know, stupid humor throughout the whole thing. Or... fucking modern music soundtrack, right?
No, I want orchestration in overall, and I want it to just be the stuff from Zelda games. You've got a plethora of songs to pick. They don't even have to be from the same game. They could just fit whatever you're doing. You could throw The Dark World in there during like a tense situation, and you don't even have to be in The Dark World. It's just a good soundtrack that you can use.
Yeah. Yeah, oh god, there's so much good Zelda music, and like I hope they fix the problems they had with the Super Mario movie.
Yeah, I think with Mario as a property, as much as I complained, it was very successful, and you can do that stuff in Mario more than you could in something like Zelda. Mario's not as serious of a property. Mario's kind of even had that stuff embedded in multimedia things forever now. I mean, you go back to the Super Mario Super Show, and like the whole thing was about like celebrity appearances during the live action, and even some of the background tracks, most of them were from the game, but occasionally you'd get things that sounded like an in-studio parody of Billie Jean or something like that, right? So Mario as a property, to my dismay, fits what they did with that a lot more than if you tried to do that with Zelda.
Yeah. I suppose.
Yeah.
I do
Again,
hope that
to my
it is
dismay.
I do hope that it's a story that I like, the Breath of the Wild relationship between Link and Zelda where, she has to warm up to him a bit, but then eventually they're clearly a couple. Like, I don't like how, I mean, we talked about shippers. I fucking hate shippers. But, other Zelda games, they have, Link is shipped with other people. And I'm like, no, Link is with Zelda. That's
everybody always says that. Like Ocarina of Time is like, oh, dude, Link and Malin.
Aria. Oh, yeah.
That's the most
I was
common
gonna
one
say
is Link
Saria.
and Malin, but like, yeah, Saria's on there too. And
Yeah.
Link may be
No.
a one-woman guy, but at the same time, those games really could potentially be named as The Legend of Everyone Wants Link.
Well, who wouldn't want like the brave hero that's going around saving everyone? I mean, that just makes logical sense, right?
Yeah.
But no, actually, I think my favorite
Breath of the Wild
relationship was Wind Waker. I like Tetra and Link. I think that dynamic is
Yeah.
probably the best one in all the games.
Yeah, I like that. No, I mean, Adventure of Link's a little different because it has Marin, right? Isn't that her name?
Link's
But-
Awakening.
At the same time, Link's
Yeah.
Awakening.
Yeah.
Marin, but at the same time, she is a dream and then becomes a seagull. So,
Yeah.
How much you go with there?
Which they're functionally
Kirby
supposed to kind of be the
movie-
same person, because The Legend of Zelda does kind of have that sort of recurring use of the same people or identities, where like it's almost like Link and Zelda aren't the only people being reincarnated in Hyrule, right? And it's very clear that Marin coming out first by a long margin. I mean, there was like almost half a decade between the two. Is supposed to kind of be this spiritual predecessor to Malin. And I don't have a way of placing that, especially because Marin was just a dream. But Hyrule and just the world of Zelda, especially if you bring Termina into it, functions so weirdly that I think there's just like consciousness imprints of people that exist in the world. That's the best I could say, because the timeline is too convoluted to say anything else,
I'm sorry, I've just been sitting here muted and laughing because, turning out to be a dream and actually being a seagull, all I could think of is, and this would not be the last time that Link was shipped with a bird.
That's true. Yeah, that is true.
Who's the other bird?
Oh, what's her name?
Wind Waker?
Medley from Wind Waker.
And she's got a beak.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also,
It's
he was
just
paired with a fish a couple of
he
times.
was a couple times.
Oh,
Yeah.
Also, trying to find literally anything about Breath of the Wild or stuff like that. You also have those weirdos that ship him with Rivali.
Well, there's weirdos that ship him with like every guy too. That's just the internet, right? Like there's
True.
people with like my least favorite character of that entire game, though he does grow on you in the second one. I'm not a big fan of Tears of the Kingdom, but Sidon is a better character in the sequel than he is in the first one. I hated him in Breath of the Wild, but he was.
Well,
one
I
of the
mean, of
common
course, in the first one, he's just the overly attached fan with just a shit-eating grin.
Yeah, it's like, that scene from Family Guy and Peter's like, oh, Meg, you're just the neediest kid. That's how I felt on the bridge. Every bridge that he stopped me, I was like, I could be going. Why are you stopping me to talk as I'm walking across this bridge? I'd be at your place already.
I'm just sitting here wondering why so many people agreed with me that the adoring fan from Oblivion is annoying, and then they like Sidon for some reason.
Yeah. But I did want to answer chat questions, right? Marsupial has to go charge his headphones. Fishoso asked, would a Kirby movie make marketing sense? Absolutely. I think enough people like Kirby. They aren't the highest selling games from Nintendo, but they sell well enough, and they are a favorite franchise of them. And they had the anime, Hoshino Kirby. I forget what the Japanese subtitle was, but it was called Kirby Right Back At Ya here in the States. And Hoshino
not to
Kirby
mention
is the
how
Japanese name of the series, by the way.
Not to mention, do you know how marketable those characters are, and at the same time how easy they are to model?
Oh yeah. But like they're also very kid friendly. Again, while I would prefer them not to do the same stuff that they did in the Mario movie. If you were going to do like an Illumination style movie, Kirby's like the only other property from Nintendo that you could probably get away with that from. Yeah, we're talking about toys, plushies, everything. It would be a great movie for them to make money off of.
Yeah, not to mention how many variations they could do just with the different absorption powers for Kirby.
Yeah.
It'd have to be animated, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
For sure.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if they went to Illumination with Kirby, that's one of the few properties where it'd be like, I would prefer if you didn't do some of these same things, but you could do it, you know? Like they did with Mario.
Joshua says Kirby could be a Baby Yoda Stitch type.
Kind of. I mean, you would just have him the same way he was in Right Back At You, and it would work perfectly. You could even bring in, like, the characters from it. Obviously, just make a new story from scratch, but people are familiar with these characters, so you could bring all of them in. But he had another question that I thought was more interesting here. Should they try to adapt a Zelda game story for the movie or create a new story/timeline for the Zelda universe? I think they should make an original story. I don't think it makes sense to directly adapt any of the game stories. One, just because there's too much in there that people would be disappointed if it didn't end up. But because Zelda as a franchise has like these recurring themes with recurring characters and imprints, it works really well for you to just make a narrative for that movie. And you could still use whatever character you want for that original story. You could, for like a 3-act story, you could include like 3 dungeon sequences where like one of them is an introduction to the story. One of them is like the actual meat of what's going on where Link needs to do this thing, maybe to get the Master Sword. You don't need to do like all the crazy stuff. Like the dungeon could be to get the sword he needs to vanquish the evil. And then the end dungeon could just be raiding Ganon's castle or whatever. You could have 3 really good dungeon sequences. You could include a lot of fun characters throughout the franchise that help Link in different ways. I think it's easier from a narrative perspective to just make a new story instead of trying to crunch down a story from any of the games.
Yeah. They could fill out some of the, some of the missing pieces if they wanted to fit it into the official timeline.
Oh, absolutely.
Answer some unanswered questions about the past, the future, whatever.
And also, if they want Zelda to be more of an active player, if you're working with original story, it's not like she hasn't done in the past, right? We have Sheik, right? Tetra, Twilight Princess until she got recaptured. She was helping a little bit in the background, hooded and cloaked. Obviously, in the Breath of the Wild, she was technically helping chant that spell the whole time, but you also had the past. Like, Zelda's been active in games, but it's easier to make her an active player if you're working with an original story, because you have the perfect excuse to have her actually help.
I'd love to see I'd love to see something, at least in the beginning, similar to Twilight Princess, where she's kind of a mysterious, like people know she exists, but like you don't realize that, she's kind of in the background helping, and then you run into her and she's a hooded figure kind of a thing. But then I imagine they're gonna probably bring in Sheik or something.
Maybe.
Along those lines.
What I would like, because I would just like it if for the most part she was just Zelda the whole time. She could have like incognito clothes. I think that's perfectly fine. What they should do is they should throw us in a story where, similar to like the first Zelda or a few of the other ones, Ganondorf has already taken over Hyrule, right? So Zelda managed to escape. They're trying to hunt her down, and she makes it somewhere, and she runs into Link. I think Zelda should be the call to action. I think Link should find out that he's the chosen hero while already trying to help Zelda. Yeah. And I think they should play from there. I think that is the easiest way to write like a hero story with a call of action, 3-act, what's it called? The Hero of 1,000 Faces style story. And Link is the type of character that you can map onto that style of story perfectly.
Like him being a knight already in the king's, Kingsguard.
No,
or
I think I
whatever.
like the idea of him being like a peasant or a roughneck. You know, like you have A Link to the Past. You have Wind Waker's another example. Ocarina of Time, him living in the fairy forest. I think more often than not, Link starts off in humble origins, even though he was always the chosen one. Even technically, he was of humble origins in Breath of the Wild. We just don't get to see that. Like, we see the village he came from. He comes from Hateno. We see his house. He was just already recruited as the Hylian representative under the Knights before we meet him. So I kind of like, throw him in to those humble origins. I think it's really good to connect for the audience if we're doing this, like, condensed hero story. Shoot, have him knighted after he saves the Hyrule, you know? Make it official after he did everything.
I don't know if I like the ones. Well, I guess the one where he's familiar with the king and that sort of thing. Like, I guess it's only really Breath of the Wild, although the king is in Wind Waker as well.
Yeah,
sort of.
Yeah. He was a boat.
There's a boat.
Yeah, I've always kind of like enjoyed the simpler backgrounds too, because when it comes to like the Royal Knight thing, there's a little bit of it that's tampered by the fact that this is his job.
Yeah, like he's still doing it.
Like
to help Zelda.
He's doing it for the right reasons, but at the same time, it kind of feels off, considering that more often than not, the reason he's doing this is because it's the right thing to do, and he's there to do it. But instead of just, this is my job, but I'm just going to do it to my best.
Yeah. At least in Breath of the Wild, he loses all of his memories, so he doesn't know that this is his job, really.
Well, so this is the thing I feel like I was stolen from me with, not Breath of the Wild, because we still kind of get humble Link since he's the amnesiac, but was, what's it called? Hyrule Warriors, whatever Calamity thing. The one you were playing recently.
Oh, Age of Calamity.
Age of Calamity, yeah.
Oh yeah, because he doesn't lose his memory.
Yeah, and you're also in the past. Like, man, it would have been really cool to use that to show us Link becoming a knight as well. Like the game could have done like a little tutorial intro sequence at the beginning and then fast forward us. Yeah. But it's like, I don't know. I feel like Link actually falling into the good graces of the kingdom was robbed from me. I kind of like that type of story, and I would have wanted it. It's not necessary.
Well, in the original
I just
Hyrule Warriors, and in the original Hyrule Warriors, he's just like a no-name. Mm-hmm. He has a cheap sword and everything, and then when there's a big attack, he's just happens to be the one that runs to the front, right?
Yeah. I also feel like
nobody knew who he was.
If you do it this way, especially if you start with Ganondorf specifically, maybe he becomes Ganon at the end, like Ocarina of Time style, and you knight Link at the end, you could set up for more than one movie, which is obviously that's what they want to do with Mario 2. And instead of just retelling different random Zelda stories over, you could use the live action universe to tell a singular long story over time. So you could have sequels where it's like, okay, well, now we get to see what happens when there's another threat to Hyrule after Link is knighted, after the kingdom's repaired and stuff like that. You could probably do like a nice, clean trilogy. I don't know if you'd want to go longer than a trilogy, but you could probably do like a clean trilogy out of that.
Yeah, if they're patient.
Yeah.
They should be.
And if it does well enough, too. Like, that's the other thing. Like, do they get their return on investment?
Yeah. I feel like they they're going to be like, wow, we have to do everything all in one movie.
No, you got to leave some stuff. Like maybe Hyrule's not even the threat, right? Maybe it's like their neighboring kingdom or something in the second one. And now that they're doing fine, Link feels the call and Zelda's like, yeah, you should probably go and help them, right? Like you have all kinds of things you could end up doing after that. But I think doing that standard, almost like a coming to age story in a way, right? If it's a teenage Link, where he's like a nobody who finds out that he's the chosen one, becomes the hero by the end, restores the kingdom, gets knighted, then there's all kinds of opportunities of things you could do in a sequel.
Yeah. But I do feel like they're not going to do like a like obvious planned sequel, like
Oh, no.
where just can't, but which is kind of a shame because there's so much time in a video game that it's going to be hard to develop these characters, have any kind of character development in a 90-minute or 2-hour movie.
Yeah.
I guess we'll see.
That's why you got to be limited. That's why I also said, like, start having your own just new story means you only have to do, like, 3 dungeons, right? 1 for each act. The first one doesn't even have to be, like, a real dungeon. It's just giving you that same experience, but it's, like, Link doing his first thing, maybe helping the princess escape capture, and they end up in, like, a forest temple to hide out, but, it turns out that that's just as dangerous as the people chasing them. And then you could get to, like, an actual meat and potatoes. They have to go to the Temple of Time, and turns out, like, this is a gauntlet because it's trying to keep people away from the Master Sword, even if only the chosen person can pull it out, so that he can go and defeat the wizard. And then you have, like, the last sequence where he fights the evil wizard itself. And then you can mix some things in between. Obviously, it doesn't have to take up the entire third of the movie, but I feel like that's a good way that you could structure that movie. And that's the direction I hope they're taking. And I have a little faith. I'm not going to hold my breath that they're going to do it right. But having seen The Maze Runner and how the first movie was structured, I think the guy could probably pull it off.
Yeah, if you look at the games, I think one of the games that kind of would work in a movie form would be like Link Between Worlds.
Yeah.
Just because it's a pretty tight story. But there's, if you don't know it ahead of time, there's some twists and turns, and the sort of the initial main bad guy is not who you expect, and then turns out to be the second one, and then it turns out to be the third one. So it's 3 bad guys. But I don't know. They gotta. I don't know how they're gonna do it. Like, are they gonna feel like they need to explain the Triforce and explain everything? Because I don't know how.
I don't think you need to, honestly.
Honestly, if it's just the first movie, and this is usually how things tend to go, I feel like if they intend to do more than one, they're probably just going to have the Triforce be a MacGuffin that's lightly touched on, and then the sequel is when they're going to start drip feeding more info about the Triforce through, like, something linked to the Triforce that's in this secondary location that's causing problems. And then third movie, link it directly to the goddesses and that kind of thing.
I got the only explanation you need, right? So it's going to be lightly touched on early, right? Where Zelda obviously knows she's got one. That's one of the reasons why they're chasing her, right? Nobody knows where the third one is. And as Link goes to get the Master Sword, that's where we're going to find out that he actually was the chosen one, and it was fate that him and Zelda were supposed to go together. But we still don't really know much about the Triforce. It doesn't really get explained. Villain monologue at the end where Ganondorf explains why he was doing all of this the whole time. And that's the most explanation we get for the Triforce, and how, like, it can grant absolute power or the desire of whoever gets all of them together. Don't need any more than that. Then, yeah, I agree with you. After that fact, if we want to do sequels, we can explain the gods and everything like that. But I think we lightly touch on early. Zelda's got one. She knows the evil wizard's got one. They don't know where the last one is. Link finds out halfway through the movie or whatever when he gets the Master Sword. Ganon gives the whole spiel in the monologue. Sweet, to the point. It's all the audience needs.
And he has to find the Triforce of Courage.
Oh, he's got it the whole time. He just doesn't know.
Also, to address Joshua's, what if they make it an isekai? I'm going to Hollywood and kicking someone in the nards with steel-toe boots.
Yeah. I will refuse to watch the movie if it's an isekai.
I was gonna say you'd see a live stream of me throwing my Switch against the wall.
Yeah. The
Like, I'm
Triforce
done.
will be the Infinity
done.
Stones of the Zelda movies.
Yeah. If they wanted to make it a franchise, movie franchise.
Oh god, that reminded me. MCU synergy has already started hitting the comics.
Yeah.
Kamala's just got her new mutant powers, and it's the purple hard light bullshit from the TV show.
Yeah, they've been setting that up to happen for a while now. That's one of the reasons why I don't read the comics, you know? Like, Marvel's dead to me. I go read something else. Their stuff is so awful.
During all of the MCU movies that were good, of course they couldn't put any of that in the comics, but now that they're sucking, they're like, oh yeah, we can put this in.
Yeah?
No problem.
But I think you could use the Triforce somewhat like the Infinity Stones, because obviously they aren't with Link and Zelda if they get extracted to be used as the actual Triforce. Like, that's the plan of the villain, right? They'd go back to the Sacred Realm. But if somebody else tries to break it back in, one of the ways you could alert that there is a new threat is that the Triforce could reappear on Zelda and Link's hands again, right? Somebody else has assumed the Triforce of power, and obviously they're going to come and try to take it. We need to figure out what the problem is.
Whatever happened to the Triforces having colors? There's a green one and a red one.
Yeah, they're after the goddesses that each one represented. Din, Ferore, and Eru.
Yeah. I think they should just basically just follow the plot of the original cartoon.
Yeah.
You know, just Link and Zelda hanging out in the castle.
Excuse me, princess.
Yeah. And then there's going to be a line that's going to be a line in the movie.
Yeah. If it comes out naturally,
Ganon,
everyone will love it. That's like, don't force it.
Yeah.
But if Link has to help save the princess, Aladdin street rat style, right? And at some point, she decides like, hey, we need to do this thing that's more dangerous. And then he could be like, oh, well, excuse me, princess, but I don't think that's a good idea. Like, they could naturally put it in, and everybody will go nuts when they hear it.
Oh my god. Link is portrayed as a mute in the movie. Somebody else says it, and he just glares at them.
I want Link to talk.
See
I just want him
Ganon.
to barely talk.
Yeah.
I know, it would be funny to me if he just doesn't say much at all, and then somebody else says that line, and he's angry about it.
Yeah. What were you trying to say about Ganon?
I want to see him, being carted around by Stalfos in a throne, a portable throne, and then having to explain to them how to fight and with boxing moves and stuff. directly out of the cartoon. It's like, no, fight like this.
The evil pig wizard.
Oh, but do you think that Master Koga is going to be in it?
No, I doubt it. Maybe, I don't know. You could. Like you said, because if they're making their own story, they can literally include whoever they want. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
And he would definitely fit the role of an incompetent minion.
Yeah, the Yiga clan can be the comedy, the comedy relief.
I think that'd be better for a TV series, though. The Eagle Clan would be like Team Rocket.
Yeah, right. Busting off again.
Yeah. Anyway, we're at the end of the show, actually. Hey, look at that.
Yeah, believe it.
Was there anything else I wanted to talk about? Obviously, we're just gonna cut it, but
Tingle.
Tingle.
We gotta have Tingle.
We do. We need a loud Kulimba.
Man, who could play him?
He's gonna be CGI, and it's gonna be CGI, but it's gonna purposely be the most Uncanny Valley bullshit you've ever seen.
Perfect.
I want to play Tingle. Cast me. I'm a little too tall for him, but I'll probably still be shorter than whoever they cast for Link and stuff, so it'll be fine.
You're too young. He's to be in his 40s, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's movie makeup. You do all kinds of stuff with magic,
Yeah.
You can put like a big fake red nose on me. It'll be great. I'll wear the outfit. I'll be goofy. That just cast me as Tingle.
Give you a fake pot belly.
Oh
Well,
yeah,
I
yeah.
wa-
Just
I wanna
shove
talk
something
on-
in there. What do you want to say?
Yeah. I want to talk on Thursday about the new game by Game Freak. Have you heard of that? Heard about
Oh yeah, yeah.
that?
Here's the thing.
It's like, whoa,
what we're going to talk
guess-
about it. Game Freak has never made a truly good game outside of Pokemon, and honestly, I don't even know if they're really responsible for Pokemon being good. I think the creator had a good idea, like the original Satoshi, who Ash is named after. I think Junichi did a good job of carrying the idea for a while, but mechanically, the game's always been weak and even needed outside help sometimes to even make it function. So, Game Freak is carried by Nintendo. We'll get to that on Thursday.
Yeah. But yeah, apparently they weren't lying when they said that we don't want to do Pokemon anymore.
It's not the first one they've done.
I swear this game's gonna flop and everybody's just gonna be flooding the internet with just Game Freak Butterbot things.
Yeah.
Just, what is my purpose? You make Pokemon games. My God.
I'm trying to remember the name of the other one. I mean, Little Town Hero 2019 flopped. It wasn't even that good. People loved it for some reason. I played it. It wasn't that good of a game. And the other one that comes to my head, let me look for the name, was Timbo the Badass Elephant. Also flopped. Awful game. The fact that Game Freak just doesn't make good games, people don't even realize they make stuff out of Pokemon. But again, Thursday show, come for that. Thank you guys for watching. And thank you guys for showing up. Obviously, you're always here, but Buck, you're welcome on when you come. If you guys enjoyed the show, please share it out. Get more people in here. Watch the VOD. Have some fun time. Like it, whatever. But if you really, really, really enjoyed it, always consider giving a donation to streamlabs.com/Vomitorium Live. Really help us out. And we'll see you guys no later than Thursday.
Bye.